Greetings to you. Greetings and welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Uncensored Guyana. I'm Dr. Prasad. In this capacity, on today's show, I am proud to embrace the title of Dr. Prasad on today's program. So, call me doctor. Okay? And on the show today, we shall explore a deep dive into human psychology, the different parameters of the brain, and see how we can arrive at a conclusion as to where we stand as a people. So we shall decipher the myth, try to unravel the mystery, to see who amongst us, referring to the Guyanese population, who amongst us as Guyanese are idiots, imbeciles, lunatics, beyond repair. We are so far gone that there is no coming back. Not even being housed in a psychiatric prison can reform those of us who would have excelled beyond the brain's capacity to find itself. Madness to the highest extent. That is like stupidity supreme. If you want to explore any form of supremacy, today would be the time to check your head to see if you qualify for a stupid supremacist or a supremacist in stupidity. Of course, I resisted. I told myself yesterday, I'm not going to say anything on the Nazar Mohammeds issue. I said, I'm not going to say anything. I'll just do the show and focus on his idiot son and our great presidents. All over the place, people are bombarding my inbox with this article and that article and this video and that video. And I thought, you know what? Nazar Mohammed deserves some attention. After all, When you are a patient, the doctor will recommend that you seek attention for your particular case. So I figured, as a doctor, I'm going to give Nazar Mohammed some attention. And maybe I'll recommend possible cures for him. Using myself as an example, I have faced some criticism. Recently I posted a video I recorded in the surgical room at the eye care hospital in Paramaribo. That's the government's hospital. There were people from the side of Win, PNC. Look, don't get it confused. When I say it's too much to have to try to differentiate. PNC is Win. Win is PNC. Let's just deal with the PNC. Okay? People from the PNC are not reform. They ain't reform. It's not possible. You can't reform those people. So they are the PNC. Okay? I wanted to say plenty non-stop corruption. Okay, I'll just say it. PNC means plenty non-stop corruption. Or we can say criminals at the end of the whatever. But they think that I was doing a promotion for that hospital. That it's a staged thing where I am paid a lot of money to promote this eye care hospital in Suriname. The extent they would go to discredit people like myself. But what you saw in that video with myself in the operation room, I just finished. Literally, just finished. A mere minutes before that, my right eye, this one, being spread open by a device and had, I don't know what instrument, but I think was syringe stuff and sutures, I don't know, but inserted into my eyes. I could have sensed it. And inject gas bubble, amongst some other corrections they would have done. And that was due to the fact that because of not following the doctor's orders and my activities of reading a lot and the computer, the telephone, and and the activities resulted in me having experienced floaters. The tread-like stuff that you see when you wake up in the morning, you think it's you rub your eyes. Well, it didn't go, it stayed. And then eventually there's a half moon shadow begin to rise in the eyes, and then it became blurred. And it was a case of emergency. So they said it was a peeling of the retina, sorry, and where liquid was, so it was a serious procedure. I'm yet to complete the other one, which is a laser surgery, 2 so far. So there's nothing fake about that. As I am right now, it is blurry in the right eye. If I close the left, I can't make you out properly because it's still in the process of healing. Nothing fake about that. It wasn't staged. And I definitely was not promoting any hospital. I don't fuck with my health to pretend to be sick or fake sickness for likes or clicks or money. And definitely not my eyes. 2 things, not my dick, not my eyes. So to the PNC people, pick another subject. And these are not fake either. You know, these are not fake. These are prescription lenses. Cost a lot of money. Yet these same people who wanted to dismiss my situation as fake embraced, made viral, whispered prayers, all the stuff they did in solidarity with a known professed racist, Nazar Mohammed. He cussed out those Negroes, called them dogs, all kinds of names, said, go and go and work for your Mati black man. They have 2 and 3 of them that has businesses. That's how he reduced the black people in Guyana. That's how he represented their potential and capacity to be of any significance to the Guyanese economy. 2 and 3. A country of hundreds of thousands of Afro-Guyanese, Nazar Mohammed reduced them to 2 and 3, capable of establishing and keeping and hiring people. 3, amongst hundreds of thousands. And despite all of that, despite the fact that those same Negroes know the tricks, the trickery in the Mohammed scam, from saying that he's opposition leader now, so therefore they should get the case dismissed, to going to the High Court to get the case dismissed, to blaming President Irfan Ali, saying it's a political witch hunt, it's a political assassination, to now faking hospitalization, faking hospitalization. Remarkably, just around the day when he's supposed to go to court, that would have decided their fate. Now, before I expound on that issue, folks, listen to this. Here's a son. The great misfortune for Guyana, the disease to the parliament. You know, they have a thing, they call it a trigger or chigger, that you get under your feet or between your toes as a kid running around in the mud and all these things and so on. Yeah, he's a trigger to the National Assembly. That idiot bragged, boasted, threatened everybody in the PPP, telling them he is going to out the PPP 2031. He was so confident that he is going to unseat President Irfan Ali. So confident on the basis of what his lawyers would have told him, on the basis of the fact that he knew that he has control over the judicial system of Guyana and the police, on the basis of the fact that he knows as an absolute fact that he is not going anywhere. Therefore, he will be in Guyana throughout these 5 years to contest the elections in 2030 and to win. Consequently, getting the PPP out of government. That's the kind of confidence a man has. If you are so embodied with this reality that this is going to happen, You have this faith and trust in your ability to bribe everyone. To bribe everyone. Why isn't it that your father shares these sentiments? Why can't you communicate your position to your father, Azruddin, so he knows that if you ain't going anywhere, he is not going anywhere? So therefore, this whole plan to stage an emergency to fake everything wasn't necessary. Because after all, you guys are going to win the case and you're not going to go anywhere. So why do you even need to go down that road? To put so many people in danger just because you want to avoid your case. Here is what I know. And I've drawn my own conclusion. Like I said, as a doctor, I've looked at the facts, I've examined the facts, and I've realized that I've done my research, and based on the patient's condition, my diagnosis brought me to this: that the Mohammeds are suffering from a case of uncertainty, insecurity, and fear. Fear as to what will befall them when they are in the hands of the federal judicial system of America. Yes, that's what I diagnosed. As a result of that, they know, based on what their lawyers are telling them behind closed doors, they're not going to win this one. They may have brought other people from wherever to add some kind of pressure when it comes to the magistrate in their case. And all these people will have examined and say, hey, this doesn't look good. You're going to exhaust your money trying to prolong this thing. But at the end of the day, which might be a few days from now, this will be over. It doesn't look good for you. What are the options? Lawyers will do what lawyers do best: advise their clients how to trick the system, how to delay the process, so as to buy them more time, hoping something happens that can help their case. Because the longer the cases are prolonged, it's the more money for the lawyers. You have to retain them. And not just more money for the lawyers, it's more money on the government and the people of Guyana to pay the prosecuting side. So while it is good for the Mohammed's lawyers to prolong this, it's bad for the country because it's costing too much. Millions for a case that could have been solved just a few days. So they would have advised their client: you do have a medical record, right, Nazar? Yeah. Well, you got to fake it. You got to fake it, and we are lawyers. We know how to present it to the judge, to the magistrate. But you got to get some doctors to cooperate with you. And don't go to the public hospital. No, they wouldn't do it. You got to go private. You can always bribe the private. You can always pay doctors in the private practice to do stuff for you. You can't do it with the government doctors, but private doctors, of course, because they're running on a profit. They have to earn money. So you have concocted this idea and made sure that you have document plus photos to follow it, to present it as evidence in a court of law that supports the claim of the defendants to have the case either dismissed, adjourned, rescheduled, therein to buy more time for the defendants. To my disappointment, any person Be it the picture that is circulating on social media about Nazar Mohammed, or the one that his son showed the media, whichever one, they're both fake. Both are fake. We're dealing with people here who have lived a life of manufacturing fake stuff. He manufactured fake videos of himself and Brazilian women with boats and all these things to help him during the campaign, to spread propaganda about him, therein to make people aware that he's running. What else can they do? But because it was not carefully planned, because it was intended to deceive not just the Guyanese people, but the judicial system, the magistrate, and that should have been a crime. That should have been a crime. It wasn't carefully planned. Because all it takes is for you to Google ICU patients or whatever is it they claim he was rushed to the hospital with. Just Google it. And you will see millions of pictures of persons in similar condition, not with their glasses in their pocket, not even their belt on their waist. And you don't put a heart monitor sticker on clothes. You need it to directly be on the person's skin. I mean, everything about it, either picture, either one, is fake. The great deceivers. That's why I likened, this is why I likened Azruddin Muhammad to the godson of the devil. What does Satan do? Satan is the great deceiver. Satan deceives the masses. Everything about this, the devil is fake, is AI, artificial intelligence. There's nothing real about it. Now they presented this via their lawyers to the magistrate with a supporting document that was allegedly produced since Saturday. Why didn't the news, like News Source or Gordon Mosley, why didn't they reference the document that was produced by the Mohammeds? Why didn't the Mohammeds give that document to Gordon Mosley so they could produce it on their newscast or whatever it is? Why not? Because you would have seen, if you read the document, that the whole thing is fake. It's bullshit, nonsense. And to have a doctor affix their signature or his signature to that claim, he is playing with his license. I hope he is. The first thing that, from my common sense, that should have happened is that the magistrate should have sought the advice of a medical professional. She should have adjourned the case for that same day for a half hour or 20 minutes or whatever it is, and take the document. The magistrate have access to doctors, hospitals. It's just a quick phone call. Reference the document, get advisement on that authenticity of the document, plus how does this sets a precedent for this person not being able to physically come to court. That should have happened. The magistrate is not a doctor, is not a medical professional. Her law degree has nothing to do with her ability to understand a medical record. She can't read that stuff and make a decision based on that. She's not qualified for that. Neither are the lawyers. They should have had a medical professional called in the court and break down what this document is, and if in fact, based on this document, the person, Nazar Mohammed, is incapable of physically coming to court because he's on handicap or he's incapacitated somehow. That was a poor judgment on the magistrate's part to adjourn the court based on the arguments of the opposition of the Mohammeds lawyers on that document produced Saturday, which reference old conditions that has nothing to do with the current situation. And the fact that he was not at the time, which was Monday, yesterday, Nazar Mohammed was not at the time of the court proceeding in a hospital bed connected to devices. Physically, he was not there. Why can't these are simple tasks, just a phone call. You have persons who are court officers. There are many ways you can verify this. So when people are drawing conclusion that the magistrate is compromised, these are the things that causes the public to draw these conclusions. The magistrate is not willing to do her job. Then the lawyer for the Mohammeds is going to further complicate the magistrate's credibility by saying he don't think the magistrate is going to agree to have a virtual appearance for his client. How the fuck you going to say that? You are not speaking on behalf of the magistrate. The magistrate should have issued statements following what he said. It further compromises the magistrate's credibility. It's already under scrutiny. Now, for him to be saying these things as if he's certain, oh, she wouldn't this, oh, she would no. From the bail set at 150 to the postponing of the cases, to all of these facilities that the Mohammeds are being granted by the magistrate, to now this. You want the people to trust the judicial system. Anil Nandalal, now is your chance. Now is your chance, Anil, to investigate the magistrate. Now is your chance. Not only the magistrate, Anil. Remember, Azruddin bashed you, right? Anil Nandalal, Azruddin insulted you, disrespected you. He posted on his page yesterday that you were sleeping in the parliament and you want to be president. All of that you're facing by Azruddin Mohammed. Now you have your chance for payback. One, examine the document issued by the hospital, Woodlands Hospital. Send investigators to investigate the log, the room log, check the cameras, compare the days, or the time rather, as against what is presented in the courts. Now you have your chance. If it is a case where this thing was manufactured, if it's fake, the Guyanese prison cells, Breakdown police station, wherever, they still have a lot of room. You can get a lot of people arrested. The court can also hold the Mohammeds lawyers in contempt for deceiving the court. It's an insult to the judicious process, an insult. The magistrate can also recall the case before the 16th. Because this is a manufactured crisis to prolong this hearing. They are so confident they're going to win the case, but still they go manufacture this fake stuff to prolong the case. Let the case continue. You're going to win, right? It's going to be dismissed. You shall be the victors. So why you have to do all this this nonsense? For what? Because you're scared. You're fearful that you're not going to win. You know you're not going to win because your lawyers tell you this is not going to be good for you. Your lawyers have to tell you that. They whatever they tell the public, that's the public, but they need to advise their clients. We're going to do what we have to do, but this doesn't look good. The Mohammeds know this already. They know it doesn't look good. Now, as you Guyanese will understand, since we have established this whole thing is fake, now, let's look at their reasons He wants 2 weeks, not he wants. The doctor recommended. The doctor is preferring the courts because this document is what they're using. That the Mohammeds, the father, needs 2 weeks for rest and recuperation. He's suffering from a state of psychosis. Once a billionaire who could slap people around, buy the whole government as he claims, now he's fighting for his life, meaning his freedom. He realizes money can't help him this time. He realizes that when it comes to the law, he's just another citizen. I mean, unfortunately, he's getting some privileges, but he realizes that the money can't save him. So he's now frantic. He's having mental issues. He can't think straight. He's having headaches. I mean, the son, no, the father is having heartaches. You are a billionaire, Nazar Mohammed. Billionaire. Come on, man. You have been a billionaire for, what, like 40 years? 40 years. I can understand people who are not rich. They can't afford to eat healthy. They can't afford to eat healthy, to exercise, none of that stuff. Nazar, you are a billionaire for 40 plus years. And you're suffering 2024 with heart problem, diabetes, and all these things. What, you weren't eating healthy, you were saving the money? You have money that you don't need to go to an office. You could have gotten out of crime 30 years ago and still not get caught and just live on what you have earned. There are people who do that. They smuggle drugs for a few years, they build themselves up, and then they leave the drug business. They legitimize themselves. They're living normal. Some open the church, some build some buildings. You know, they're taking care of themselves because, like, hey, they don't want to keep doing that. But you had to keep doing this old bad business because you're greedy. I mean, how much is too much? You couldn't spend some of that money on your health, but you were taken care of 2024. All you had to do is follow the doctor's orders, take your medication, and stay out of crime. But your crimes were already catching up with you since then. Now your excuse is that you have mental issues, too much of stress. I mean, that is your defense. The hospital found nothing wrong with you, Nazar. Nothing. But yet you try to get them to produce a document to confuse the courts. I mean, I've understand that you had wax in your ears. Who don't have wax in their ears? Everybody does. You mean as a billionaire, you can't go to the pharmacy and buy one of the wax cleaner? You know, not the swab, not the one with the cotton, because that is bad for your ears. Because when you use that, you're pushing the wax further down. But they have the one with the swirl, like, you know, the swirl. You can use that, and when you turn, it brings the. I mean, it's cheap. It's practically free. You mean you can't afford that? They also have this light suction. You can just suck the wax out your ears. I mean, come on, Nazar. You could pay somebody to do that. Go to an ear specialist. Guyana has the best nose, throat, and ear specialist. The best. You can't afford one. You could buy the whole of Woodlands Hospital. Are you a donor? I asked the question yesterday. Are you a shareholder of the Woodlands Hospital? Therein you can get them to do whatever you want them to do. Because you're paying, you're supporting the hospital. I mean, your charity. You couldn't go to court because you have issues with your ears and your heart is beating fast because you're nervous about the verdict. I mean, your son, oh, he has a lot on his mind, you know, his age. Now it's about his age. Oh, now. You went out the other day and clapping and cheering for your son when he was sworn in as opposition leader. Amongst everybody. You wanted to slap one of the guys the other day, with critics. You rush up to the man. I want to slap, the thing you call the man. You were so aggressive. Now you can't go to court because you have some wax in your fucking ears. Or you want to clean it out so you can hear the verdict. That's noble. But come on. You can walk, right? And again, on your lawyers, the other day we had the case with the bombing, the Venezuelan national who committed the terrorist act in Guyana. At their hearing, weren't they appeared the first time virtually? And that was worst. The bombers, the Venezuelan bombers, appeared virtually in Guyana in a magistrate court regarding the case. Virtually, meaning by video. By video. You had many cases, where the criminals or the accused are in prison and they're appearing virtually with their case. You have some cases where the criminals are in lockup, and their lawyers are there on their behalf. You have some cases where the criminals are hospitalized either by being shot by the police or being, whatever it is that they have to face hospitalization, and their lawyers go to court on their behalf. But Nazar Mohammed is so special that he has to be there physically. His lawyers can't go on his behalf. He is incapable of going on video. And you, the lawyer for Mohammed, you're saying the magistrate would not allow that? How do you know? Since when the defendant can't appear virtually? When did that change, Anil, Mr. Attorney General? When was that law adjusted that it's a new system now that all defendants must appear in person and they must give their lawyers approval for that? Whether they appear in person or in the absence, they have to be with their lawyers. Either way, the lawyers have to be there, with or without them. But why are we playing this hopscotch with the laws of Guyana? The Mohammeds are above the law. Why is the judge continuing to facilitate the Mohammeds like this? The lawyer is right for the government. It's costing the taxpayers. It's costing the taxpayers. The Attorney General chambers have to pay this Jamaican lawyer and his team thousands, millions for this case. The Americans have to pay their team thousands. Come on, man. Because we have oil, that's how you're going to spend the government's money, the people's money in this Mohammed's case? Hear what I say. You don't need to be a genius or a doctor to figure this out. The whole thing is a scam. The whole thing. Justice must be served for what they have done yesterday. The document should be investigated. The hospital should be investigated. The doctor should be investigated. Everyone should be investigated. The magistrate must revisit her ruling on that case yesterday, rescind the ruling, and recall the date as at the earliest opportunity, not the 16th, before that. Because she was played. She was played, she was deceived, she was fooled, she was taken advantage of. The law has to be more vigilant against people like the Mohammeds. Not because they have money that they will have accumulated on their illegal means, hence the reason why they're before the court fighting extradition. This is a betrayal of justice. It is a malpractice from the medical side, and it should be dealt with harshly. Shouldn't be allowed to just be swept under the rug. The Mohammeds lawyers are the Mohammeds lawyers. They will do what they have to do for their money. But they should not impact the decision of the judge or the magistrate or influence the hospital. The doctors should maintain their professionalism. The hospital should maintain its professionalism. This is a bad shadow for the Woodlands Hospital. And like I said, should be investigated. Mr. Nandalal, now is your chance to get back at that idiot who insulted Madame Teixeira and yourself and who threatened to replace the PPP with his PNC party, 2031. You want a chance to expedite the process to get rid of him? Now is your chance. He fucked up bigly. In a huge way, they messed up this time. You know, is it to deceive the court? Lying under oath? That's what happened. Lying under oath. And what he did, when he showed the picture to the media, it was so quick. So quick. Because he realized it's not too convincing. That picture was not too convincing, so they had to restage it with all kinds of, and let that picture come out. Because the one that they showed is not the one that is circulating. Because it's not too convincing. No, this doesn't look real. Do another one. So both must be investigated. If it is that the one that Ajudin said his father sent him, or whoever sent him, is different than the one that they put out after that, it means it's a staged photo op intended to mislead the court and mislead the public. This is the opposition leader you're talking about. Mr. Manzoor Nadir, now is your chance to disqualify the man. I mean, the PPP, we have so much now in our ammunition to get rid of these people. If you can investigate this claim from the opposition leader to mislead the court and the public, lying under oath, you can use this, bring it to the parliament for a vote and say, get the fuck out. Manufacturing fake evidence to deceive, that's a huge crime. You have cases that are thrown out of court because of manufacturing evidence from the side of the police. And when the defendants are manufacturing evidence, it's even worse for them. Now you have the defendants manufacturing evidence to prolong an extradition case. And you haven't jumped at the opportunity to get these people behind bars and out of the country. You can get the best medical care in America, Nazar. Free health care for federal inmates. You don't need insurance. The government pays for that. You get all the bed rest you need. And you'll be mentally calm because you can't think of anything else. You're already there. So you can't be worried about being there. You're there. The only thing you have to worry about is how long you'll be there for. But when you're there in the prison, what else is there to stress over? Just adjust. Your boy would be there with you. So, I mean, father and son. All you need to do is to regret your bad choices in life. And then you can find a way to tell your grandchildren, bad money is never good. Earn it the right way. Eat and let others live. Not eat and let others eat. Eat and let others live. Because in your case, Nazar, you ate while people struggled. So you'll have enough time to contemplate your choices in life. But this is another position now where especially Afro-Guyanese must take cognizance of this. These are the people that you are supporting. These are the people that you are supporting, Black people. The people that hate Sudas One, and the people that are manipulating the justice system, that is making Guyana look bad. So PPP, People's Progressive Party administration, when the people are saying they don't trust the judicial system, they don't trust the police, this is why. Times like these is why they can say they don't trust the system. Because look before their very eyes what money is doing to our learned magistrate and court system. Look what money is doing. How you want the average man to trust the judicial system? How? He couldn't do that. He couldn't do that. Man, they would, those Kanu people and those, whoever they call them, those special whatever, the things they will do to any other defendant who would have pulled a stunt like this, their lawyer may be disbarred, but their Mohammeds are allowed to get away with this because they have some money. Are the doctors paid for their job? Everybody is receiving a salary for their function in society. You want to compromise your license and compromise the credibility of the hospital for a few dollars more? Because the whole hospital can be sanctioned for this. The entire hospital. What are they going to do? The board members of the Woodlands Hospital, the management is going to fire the doctor and whoever else was responsible for this conspiracy? No, your credibility is fucked up. Firing the doctor wouldn't change that. It is exposing your system of accountability. It is telling the public this is what this hospital practices. Maybe it's the first time they were caught. But who knows if they haven't done it before? Who knows if the hospital did not facilitate things like this before? Who knows? Now we are aware of it because of this Mohammeds case. Could have happened before. The courts could have been deceived in many other cases. Now they have to review all these issues coming from the hospital, cases before. I said yesterday, who Guyanese trust? Who should Guyanese trust? I am happy that things like this happen, coming from the PNC side, from their Klong Azridin Mohammed. I'm happy because the Guyanese are getting a clear message as to why they need to stand with President Irfan Ali. Clear message. That 19 or whatever fraud charges the PNC keeps referring to. Who brought those charges against President Ali? The Americans, the Canadians, or the PNC? The same thing with Bornum. How many charges did Bornum brought against Cheddi Jagan and people of the PPP back in the day? You can't attribute political charges from the opposition or the ruling party against their opponents in a country compared to an international sanction for drugs, gold smuggling, crime, and all these things. There's no comparison there. The PNC concocted, they created, they fabricated, just like this Mohammeds case, fabricated charges against President Irfan Ali because they wanted to disqualify him from being the candidate to contest the elections leading up to 2020. Because they know the inevitable as to what we are experiencing now, meaning Irfan Ali became the president. That was the fear the PNC had. So they tried everything possible to lock him away so he would not be around to contest the election. How is that parallel to the criminal Mohammed and his issues with the Americans? How? Before he entered politics, he was sanctioned, indicted, wanted long before. So eventually, our president, his name was expunged, cleaned from the fake charges, from the setup of the PNC. President Irfan Ali is as clean as a whistle. He is president twice. There's no comparison. So Guyanese, join the call to have this kind of abuse of the judicial system be stopped. Join the call. While you are sharing this thing on social media, whatever you do, you need to write your comments that the government, the Attorney General, must investigate this hospital claim. The document, the doctor, everything should be investigated forthwith. And the magistrate need to rethink her position, and she should also secure lawyers. She should get her lawyer. I think she has one, to advise her as to the consequences of this. It is nonsense. It has to stop. They have to stop using money to debase and discredit the government's instruments of the state for their own benefit. This is bad. It makes Guyana look bad. It makes the judicial system look bad. It makes the medical system look bad. This is not a private clinic. This is not some doctor's office somewhere. This is a hospital. A hospital. The whole thing was staged to deceive the court. No, this got to be corrected. Investigated. And this is no explanation that can explain this away. A decision was made by the magistrate based on these new findings or evidence. Based on that. The whole system was corrupted based on that. And there should be consequences to that. If I were your Home Affairs Minister, trust me, I would have gotten involved. I would have gotten involved. Yeah, because it's my jurisdiction too. So I hope the Home Affairs Minister gets involved. The Ministry of Legal Affairs, the Home Affairs Minister, and the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony. You are a noble man, sir. You should get involved in this too. Get your ministry to investigate the hospital regarding this case, because all of you look bad. This is a reflection on the government's infrastructure in the system. Everyone should get involved. Get down to the bottom of this and let the public know what your findings are, so the people of Guyana understand that the Mohammeds continue with their evil ways, even going so low that can compromise a doctor's license, his ability to perform medicines from this point. If the doctor is responsible for this conspiracy, his license should be taken away. It should be taken away. There must be real consequences for these things. Don't just sweep it under the rug. This isn't for clicks. This is not social media entertainment. This is real. A real court, a real hospital, a real case, a real indictment. It's real. There's nothing funny about this. And you on the other side, you're throwing things at my president, and this is what your guy is doing. This is what your guy is doing, and you have the audacity to talk about corruption in the PPP. Look at what your people is doing. Look at what your presidential candidate and now opposition leader has done. You should shut up and apologize to President Ali and the People's Progressive Party. But you won't do that. You would still defend the Mohammeds and say, no, that didn't come from the Mohammeds camp. Just like the voice on the tape saying that black people are bad and their dogs was not Nazar's voice. These images and this whole story, it didn't come from the Mohammeds camp. It came from the PPP. Okay, fine. Okay, the whole hospital thing is a PPP. Okay, is President Irfan Ali manufactured a hospital situation? President Irfan Ali manufactured a doctor's report? It's him. Do the investigation and let's find out who is behind it. Okay, if it's the president, I'll apologize. I'll say I'm sorry. But we want to know. So do your investigation, Attorney General, the prosecutor's office, and let us find out. Okay? And do the man as solid, do Nazar as solid, and let him appear virtually. Everybody does. He can stay in his bed and relax and drink his tea and put on his phone or let him set a camera up and he can listen to his case because he doesn't have to do anything. He can be there virtually. His lawyer's got to be doing the argument. He ain't got to talk. So you don't need him to speak. You just need him to see what's happening. Share this live. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your comments. Not here. I want to read your comments later. But understand you have a good government. And we are on the road to success. Now there's nothing that can stop us. And the whole of Guyana understands where their trust should be invested. The only people, the only party that is transparent, that follows the law, and keeps Guyana's image pure is the People's Progressive Party and our president. They make us proud, while all these losers, these assholes, embarrasses us. We keep our eyes on the ones who have our back. The president of Guyana, the government of Guyana, and the People's Progressive Party, they have our backs. Until next time. Thanks for your attention. See you again.